All right,
ready?
let's do this. Let's do this. Skoden.
Do this work.
Skoden.
I kind of wish you could see my mic. I was feeling like this all the time. Hey, just kidding.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
Just kidding. Okay. Hey, I was gonna start. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of the Tenacious 4 podcast with the Tenacious 4. I'm Tika and we got Milani, Destiny, and Melody. And we're super excited to be back. We have some juicy stuff to talk about today, but we're going to start off with our daily shenanigans.
Shenanigans
of the day.
Okay,
I like the pitch desk. We definitely what's that word?
Harmony going
We
on.
harmonized.
match pitch.
I feel like, I'm kind of happy about this time. I feel like everyone had a good day today.
I feel
not
like we
like-
have
it's not
no
like-
shenanigans.
Everyone's like, no one's like, it was just a day. Everyone's like, shit, it was a good day.
It was a
Feeling
good day.
I napped for 2 hours and it was
Hell
magnificent.
Yeah.
And you know when you wake up from nap sometimes and you feel like, oh, I feel worse. No, I was
Mhm.
up, I was ready, cooked dinner.
Ready to go.
Yeah,
That's
you were
awesome.
pumped. You were pumped to film
Mhm.
tonight.
It was
Yeah.
a good night. It was a good day.
Yeah, for sure. We had a snow day. So I took the girls sledding down the little arroyo, down the little hills here. So
Snow
we had a
day in
blast.
Albuquerque.
Yep. No, I'm in Rio Rancho actually.
Oh, my bad.
Very different.
Don't mess that up.
It's very different. Very different.
Very different. We are not the same. I'm just kidding.
I hear you. Take it back right now.
Take it back.
You can't sit with us.
In other news, there was like some trash mixed in with our snow. So, Albuquerque.
Merch stuff.
Living your best life.
Oh, and I watched I'm not into the Olympics, not like at all, but Maya plays hockey, my 13-year-old, and they had the first hockey game of the Olympics, and it was Team USA, which is number 2 versus Team Finland. And there's the first Indigenous woman. Her name is Abby Rock, and I think she's right. Oh my god,
that's awesome.
so good. So I
So
watched
cool.
that
Represent.
like 8:30 a.m. in Beijing.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. And we found out that she's the same number as Maya, which I got like,
Huh.
Which is
Maya?
another
You
level.
have to get
Just
a
number
US. You have to get a US jersey now for
you
Maya
gotta
with
get the
Maya
gear.
number
You
11.
have to.
Right?
have to.
Yeah. And they're like $275. So we might
Uncle.
right? Go fund me.
Grandpa.
I started GoFundMe for Maya's new jersey.
Yeah. But
I
it was
rep that
so
native.
cool. And they
Oh
won
my god.
5-2. And it was a
Awesome.
so it was awesome.
Oh, love it.
Oh,
my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, that is
I
awesome.
know. I'm really
Um,
happy we all had good days.
Me
Yes.
too. And the thing is I don't watch the Winter Olympics either. I'm super into the Summer Olympics. So, but you know what I like to watch? So weird. I don't know why, but I like figure skating.
Oh,
The Winter Olympics.
Figure
I think
know,
everyone
so
likes figure
pretty.
skating.
Oh, really?
Everybody
Okay.
loves it.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. Then. I really like figure skating. So like in the Summer Olympics, I love gymnastics. I don't know. There's something about it's just like another level athletes, that-
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know.
Also snowboarding.
Oh,
Check it out.
snow. Yeah. Well, I like snowboarding too. I know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I do. I just don't. It's like for Summer Olympics, I'm like pumped. I'm like, all right, I'm waiting for but Winter Olympics, I'm like, oh, I might catch it, but it's kind of
Mhm.
sad because Winter Olympics are still pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
But
I get into the Olympics every year. I really watch it. Well, not every
With
year,
your,
but
with your mom and
You know,
dad.
every 4 years.
every 4 years. But every time the Olympics is on,
Every time the Olympics comes on, I watch it.
I watch it.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really into curling. Those are just some magnificent athletes.
No.
And
You know, our cousin played, you know, our cousin curls, Leal. Leal.
What?
Yeah.
No
They're
way,
good
I
too.
didn't know
Mhm.
that.
I had no
Yeah.
idea.
interesting.
Her and her mom. Yeah.
Is that
They
a
curl.
Mm,
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
I didn't. One of my friends
Well,
curls too.
That's
I
cool.
take it back. It's really awesome.
Hey. Skitter.
Just kidding.
I guess that my only what happened for me today that is nice. Obviously, like we said, we all had good days. I got to see my nephew tonight, so I haven't seen him since Christmas, so I was excited about that. So I'm sorry guys for being late, but I got to see Cashton.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
Baby.
Okay, so let's move on. We have a really great topic to talk about. And it's going to take some time, I feel like, so we should get started.
Mhm.
So today, everyone, we want to talk about some of our favorite shows that we watch streaming, like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, you know, some of our favorite shows. So we are going to start off with dun dun dun. Just kidding.
Euphoria.
This one is the one, Euphoria. Milani is going to give us a little intro, a little bit backstory if no one has watched it. And also, spoiler alert, if you want to watch a show and you don't want to know any like dirty deets or anything like that, you might not want to listen. But you
Don't
might
listen,
want to because
just skip ahead.
want to because we're fun to listen to.
Just for our audience who are listening, we do want to put a disclaimer that there's some content that we'll be talking about today that could potentially be triggering to those who are dealing with addiction, sexual assaults. We also talk about topics involving teenage sex, because that's just the nature of the shows that we'll be talking about today in our BingeWorthy podcast. So please proceed with caution, and we'll put some chapters within the YouTube page of when you can skip ahead. Also be aware, spoiler alert, we're gonna have some, spoilers out there too. So if you don't want to know about these shows, skip ahead. If you don't like talking about, like real life, skip ahead. But that's just a little warning for y'all. Thank you. So we strategically put Euphoria first because we have a lot of things to say. We have a lot of opinions. We have a lot of content to work with when it comes to Euphoria because, for those who know. So Euphoria first launched in 2019 on HBO Max. It stars Zendaya as Rue, and she is the main protagonist, and it is narrated from her point of view as well. The director is Sam Livingston, and he basically wrote the show based off of his life. So he is Rue, which is really interesting. And we'll get more into that dynamic in a little later. But it's also a remake from a show that was originally aired in Israel. So yeah, it has a lot of different factors that make it what it is. But I think all of us kind of, I don't want to say relate, but are intrigued with Euphoria for many different reasons. Yeah, and a fun fact, the most current news about it is that people are really pissed at Euphoria right now. There's even an entire podcast about shows that flop, and there's a whole episode on Euphoria flopping. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I have a lot of things to say. So I'm going to open the floor.
Excuse me,
Desi,
sorry, guys.
what do you think?
Bless you.
What do you think of Euphoria?
Oh, geez.
Time out real quick, Beth. Can I just ask, what was the reasoning behind it flopping? Like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And also, can you
Oh.
give a little bit more like backstory of what the show is about, just in case people haven't watched it? Give a little bit of like what it's about.
Absolutely. So Euphoria has the point of view of Rue, who is struggling with addiction. She is a sister and a daughter to a family whose father passed away. So she's dealing with a lot of things that way, but it's also the point of view of a lot of different characters as well. I really like the way Euphoria opens up with a backstory of a different character each episode. I think that's really interesting. So it deals with a lot of different, I guess, issues. I'm going to say straight up issues that they say the Gen Z is currently dealing with. So it does circle around the Gen Z perspective of like the current times. And they're all in high school, which is terrifying because they do not deal with high school issues. I mean, maybe they do. I guess we'll also get into that later. But yeah, so it has a lot going on. And like I said, we have a lot of opinions and a lot of stuff to talk about with it. But so the reason why it flopped, you guys, they're saying it flopped.
Yeah.
I think a big thing to add is
Ooh.
that there's a lot of nudity, and I think that's the issue that people struggle with. That a lot of nudity on the show.
Okay, so basically, there's a lot of cast drama between with the writer, with Sam Livingston. So Sam currently is a cisgendered heterosexual male writing for the personalities of all these characters who are so, you know, diverse and interesting. And basically, a lot of people are thinking he's missing the mark on telling the true story about these characters. For example, I'll tell you about my girl Kat. I always feel like I saw myself in this character because she was like, you know, she was like the plus size girl amongst all the tiny ones, you know, kind of had weird boy problems. And she was just trying to find herself through storytelling on the internet, which I touched base with a few times. But yeah, and so he wrote the character for this season originally to be dealing with an eating disorder. And Kat, Barbie Ferreira, who plays Kat, she basically said absolutely not. I believe that she thoroughly encompasses a girl who accepts her body and didn't like the writing. And so Sam Livingston, he decided to write her out of the script. So if you've noticed, her lines and her presence in the new season is super minimal.
Right.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that. I thought she just like, I thought she was just gonna like, she just kind of hasn't had her part yet, because you know how everyone kind of has their moment in each season, or like the first season, like you said, you know. So I thought she's just kind of like, it's like more coming, especially with her stuff with her boyfriend and all that. I thought that's like gonna come up, you know.
So the whole thing
That's crazy.
Is like, she doesn't like the idea of every plus size girl on screen needs to be, you know,
have body image issues.
And so so that's one of the reasons why people are really upset with it. And and so the whole flopping thing is, I guess they're saying that the cast drama is prevalent on the screen.
Okay. That's cool. That's something we never knew.
I didn't know that. No. And I wouldn't have even thought of that, honestly, because I mean, they fight because it's like, I feel like it's what this show's about. Like, you know, I didn't think into like them actually.
Also, Zendaya and Jacob Elordi had a bad breakup, I guess. So Zendaya, being a producer, didn't want to be around him during filming. And so that's another thing that's like coming into effect too.
Wow.
Which one is Jacob? Which one is that?
Nate.
Oh, she was with Nate?
Yeah, for like a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, but she's with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Right? Yeah, I see Spider-Man.
That's my dude.
Favorite couple. I know.
No, that's my dude.
I love Tom Holland. Yeah,
I love him.
I
think he's my favorite Spider-Man.
Like that Barbie Ferreira in the first season. And we talked about this before, Milani, that she was super like empowered, and that it wasn't necessarily maybe like the healthiest kind of empowered, because she's clearly in high school and she was like dominatrix and you know, but she was kind of finding herself. So I know this is like, I've said disappointed like 5 times already, but I mean, that's what I feel is her character this season, she's just herself. And I'm like, what
We gotta
happened?
do a timeout. We gotta do a timeout. I don't know why my plugin isn't working, but it says my battery is gonna die on my Mac.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
I know.
Oh,
Sorry. It just, I thought it was plugged in this whole time.
I like your Victoria's Secret pajama pants.
Okay. All right, Mel, I'm sorry. Go back to what you were talking about.
I think I finished my thought before you. That was it. Just the character arc, that had me really invested in rooting for Kat. And then this season, she's just like, and I think maybe it has to do with her relationship, and hopefully they'll dive into that more and kind of like flesh it out and explain that more. But she hates herself all of a sudden. And maybe, you know what, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's because she's denying that part of her, whereas before she was embracing it. And now she's trying to, like we talked, in our last conversation about Euphoria that we had, just the 4 of us, but that the more you try to sweep something under the rug, the more it like eats at you, like you can't, then that's
right,
like a big theme.
Yeah, and she feels guilty for like not. I think her biggest issue is she feels guilty because it's like she's supposed to like this man who like actually really cares about her, because like her fulfillment from all those other men, like from the internet, she's like fulfilled by them for some reason. But now there's someone who actually loves her and like wants her, but it's not fulfilling her. Yeah. And so she feels guilty for that. And so I think so she feels like she's a bad person, which she's not, but she just, I mean, when you think about the age, she was like her actually being able to understand that,
Oh, you're right. Because you forget that they're in high school.
They're in high school. And so the fact that how is she supposed to like really like understand those feelings and be okay with them? Because ideally you just think, oh, well, why? Like I'm supposed to be happy, but
I also think it's crazy too, though.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like non-toxic, right? And she only has the experience of seeing a relationship from a peer level from Maddy, who is toxic AF.
Oh my God, on another level.
I wonder if because like how she was making up things about her man, like, oh, he ripped my clothes off, and everyone's like, dang, like she has like kind of that married life, meeting the parents, and like has like a picture perfect, like beautiful blonde, blue-eyed boyfriend who is obsessed with her,
and everyone admires the relationship, like everyone else, including Maddy. Maddy's like, she's so lucky. Like she is obsessed with their relationship. But she doesn't see it that way. And so, and I think, well, no, I don't even know if she doesn't see it that way. That's why I think another reason she feels guilty, because everyone's admiring her relationship and she's like unhappy in it.
Yeah.
She's like the only one that has any kind of like healthy anything.
Yeah, she really is. Yeah.
Right.
And that her parents like support her.
Yeah.
Too. Like her parents fully support her and like her.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's not that like boring, kind of like we talked about this as adults, like where something healthy is unfamiliar and you just kind of like crave that like dangerous, like I mistake it for like but really it's like
toxic.
Oh, it's just pure toxicity. Yeah. And to get, I mean, think how old we are to get to that space. Well, I mean, we have a whole conversation on relationships, but we all have like, all of us have different, experiences with relationships and stuff like that. But it does take a long, like from my experience, like definitely understanding what toxic and healthy is and knowing the difference is really hard to decipher and to expect of what 17-year-old. That's what's crazy about this show is that what they go through is we relate but I think, well, we got to go more into this because we had a really good conversation about, their issues, a lot more of their issues.
I feel like just like my thoughts on it in watching it, because like we keep talking about like they're in high school, right? And like
Mhm.
when I was growing up, our show was Degrassi, right? And they started out in middle school and then they were in high school with us, and we like grew up with those characters. But Degrassi, like they touched on things, right? But like nothing like Euphoria does.
Mhm.
And I feel like Degrassi, you learn, yeah, like that's yeah, Degrassi was scandalous. Oh my gosh, oh my, you know, Maddy came to school with a thong, like, oh damn, you know, like you know, and like, and then thinking just like as a mom too, I feel like watching this and them being in high school, I'm just like, holy shit. You know, like,
Mhm.
and it makes me think just personally, and I know we all kind of agreed on this, is like we just need to have conversations with our kids if this is like high school Gen Z, you know. And because I have a 13 gonna be 14-year-old this month, and she's going to high school in the
Mhm.
fall. And so just thinking of my baby and thinking of Euphoria, I'm like, oh my God, like I am scared shitless. You
Right.
know, and so, but I feel like I'm very open with her, and like she can come to me and talk to me about things, and we can have these conversations, and I can have these conversations with her, you know. And I don't know, so like Mel, I know you have older kids and whatnot,
Who's
so
hollering at me right now, you guys? We don't have to cut this out. This is real life when you're a
this is
parent.
real life. The mama is being yelled right now. My mom alert was like, wait, was that one
Okay,
of
I'll be
mine?
right on.
I'm like, oh.
I know. I was like, do I ignore him or no? This is real life. Hollering at me.
No, it's totally fine. But that's just basically what I was gonna touch on, is just like it's like I enjoy Euphoria. I ain't gonna lie. I look forward to my Sundays. You guys know I was texting everyone on Sunday. Yeah, and I love it, but it just, I don't know. As a mom, it kind of it freaks me out. It scares me. And I'm not saying I was an angel when I was in high school, because I mean I know all the tricks. So Riley
Keep
can't
talking,
pull
I'll be back.
nothing on me, but I it just scares me. You know, it just
You know what's interesting? I wonder if they added Drake onto the executive producers because he was in Degrassi, because they needed someone who like
he's an executive producer.
Euphoria?
Yeah, you didn't know that? This season he's an executive producer, Drake. Jimmy.
I love Euphoria even more.
So okay, I have
That's my
two things. Just to like what Des said. 1000%. Oh my God, my kids are gonna be in high school soon. What the hell is this? But like, I know we talked about this too. Is like, you know, it's like sex. Like,
right.
Sex ed is not going to make kids have sex, and not talking about sex is not going to stop kids from having sex.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, I personally know 7th graders who are watching Euphoria right now. Like, we're not gonna, I will do everything in my power to stop my kids from watching it, but they have friends who watch it. Like, there are kids who are going to be watching it. So like you said, Des, just like having those conversations is so important, and having that open line of communication and not just shutting it down and being like, we don't talk about this because it's scary, and if I don't mention it, maybe like you guys won't do it, and it's unrealistic.
Do you guys?
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead, Mel.
So second thing, so this, I don't want to change the subject, but I just want to mention it, that the soundtrack is fire. Oh my God.
So
good. I get so many of my songs from Euphoria.
Me too.
Labyrinth was in this last episode.
He's the producer or something. He does all of the music for Euphoria.
It's so good. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess just touching more on what Mel said, and just like, just because we don't talk to our kids about these things doesn't mean it's not happening, you know? So like, that's why I'm very open. like with Riley, because I've learned, you know, obviously I'm a teen mom, so I'm like talking to her because I have almost 14 freshmen, you know, and so these things are scary, you know, but I don't know. Another thing too is like I've heard a lot of talk that Euphoria glamorizes addiction in a way, or like you know, and kind of glamorizes these kids with these problems, you know, like emotional problems, trauma that they deal with, and it kind of like glamorizes it. And I feel like a lot of the articles I was reading and stuff were touching on that, and like how it glamorizes these things. But I know Milani, I follow her too, but we follow Zendaya, right? And I know you had talked about that before. So
yeah, no, I love the idea that Zendaya puts out a disclaimer. Immediately when the second season launched, she put on her Instagram, like, this is art, this is a narrative that isn't for everybody. We understand we have young fans, but this is adult content. And there's even a viral video out there where they're doing like press for the show, and Zendaya and Hunter oh my god, what's her last name?
Schaefer.
Oh,
yes, Hunter Schaefer. We're up on the stage, and this little girl gets on the mic and she's like asking a question, and Zendaya is absolutely triggered. She's like, tell me you are not in here. Where's your parents? This is not for you. And I just really appreciate that Zendaya is aware, that she knows that she came from Disney. She has a younger following, and that now she's like, you know, kind of unfortunately has this responsibility to be like, okay, this is for adults. And I feel like it's interesting too that this is high schoolers, but it's still, it's like, you know, it's adult content.
Right.
Right. But
and
yeah,
it's adult content. And I think we talked about this, and we got to probably hustle up on this to get onto our other shows. But one thing I think was really important to mention when we talk about it being adult content is that what it really, I feel like, highlights is a lot of, obviously, like a lot of unhealthy, what's the word I want to use?
coping mechanisms.
Unhealthy coping mechanisms, swiping shit under the rug, toxic masculinity. And so so like our generation is kind of the first generation to start breaking these patterns. And our parents' generation is a generation that is like, they're new to, and even we are. I mean, we grew up in where our hometown, there wasn't any, gay, bisexual, trans, anything. And until I remember, maybe there was, but we weren't really aware of it. It wasn't open. Not in my age. Maybe
don't say it. You're not.
Yeah. And maybe, I'm not sure, Milani, because you're 4 years behind me, but like I remember when I was in college, there was a lesbian couple in our high school that was like, always like, what? No way. Like, and it's not that I cared, but it was just like it was like, I couldn't believe that it was like, it was okay, like, that they're open and everything. So our generation literally is kind of the first generation that's open to that's breaking these patterns and normalizing, and then our children are like, those are my uncles. Those are like, they don't even like, it don't even like really faze them, No. So like, I think what's so important to this. So this show, it does pertain to us, and it does aim at us, because all this brushing everything under the rug is teaching us what it did and what it's doing. And I feel like we're learning, we're in a space where we're trying to do the opposite for our children. And it's just showing like all the issues it caused, and what it continues to cause if we continue,
to cover it up,
to cover it up
for us. Didn't someone say that last time, that it was a reimagining of high school for millennials? That's
it was an article I read, actually, because I was doing research on it.
Well, remember, Mel, we were talking about that too, because I mean, my high school experience is very different. Each of us has a very different high school experience. And you guys said something about an article where like, oh, we didn't do that kind of stuff. We didn't party like that. But then we were like, Mel's like, we did. Like, maybe it wasn't in the fancy houses with the fancy clothes, but it was definitely very similar. And the same things were happening at those parties. And so just
To a
because
lesser
one
extent,
person,
for sure, but there was definitely like lots of kids doing very adult stuff. That like,
and it's Hollywood, so of course it's gonna in anything, it's gonna be a little bit, but it's a reality. And for people to say that just because you didn't experience that, you can't say it didn't happen. You
can't dismiss these stories.
Dismiss,
exactly.
Yeah.
Especially Cal. Look how it's such a sad story.
Oh my
gosh.
Poor guy. I never thought I'd feel bad for Cal, but I really feel like he's the perfect example of exactly how toxic that within this the actual term toxic masculinity can do to an entire family, to an entire generation of men. And Cal in this, just so you know, Cal is a father of a star athlete in the Euphoria high school, which is Nate. And Nate is just struggling with figuring out what his sexuality is and what he's supposed to want. And that all stems from his father, his father was in the closet for years. And before his girlfriend got pregnant, he actually was able to open up and be like, I'm in love with the man who's like my best friend. And then a day later, his girlfriend calls and is like, we're pregnant. So he let loose in this last Sunday episode, and I was here for it. I love to see him calling out his family.
Me too.
He's like, I'm an emotional man. He's like, I'm emotional, but none of you let me be emotional. He's like, you're crazy. You like pee porn. You're crazy because I have no idea who the hell you are. And he's just calling
everyone out.
I still hate Cal.
I'm just saying.
I know he is like literally like a pedophile.
He's like a love to hate, and
but like that's what's sad though,
for sure, to see him like just be like, I'm just here I am.
Like seeing him as a child, like because you just saw like all his stuff as a child, and then you see him as an adult, and it's like it's sad, because and it fucked him up, like to say the least, because his dad was exactly how Cal was to his children, but
like times 100.
Yeah. Like, well, then it messed up his other son because his son watched all his sex videos.
Oh my God.
He tells him he's his biggest failure when he's really talking to himself.
Right. Yeah. It's very emotional. Euphoria is very emotional, up and down, like I'm just like in it. When I'm in it, you're riding the Euphoria roller coaster with all these cast members, all these actors, actresses, and it just gets you. It sucks you in.
We could have a whole episode on each character, right? And their issues,
on Euphoria. I just have to mention the makeup and style and the cultural zeitgeist that it has like exploded onto the scene from Euphoria.
Agree. And the other thing I really like about Euphoria too, before you wrap up, is when we kind of touched on already, but is like all like the sexual, or like everyone has, we have the
Milani.
What's her name again? Milani, you're better at this at the vocabulary. Way better. I'm sorry. But touch on it, Milani, because I think I love that it's just like normalized, and there's no,
I think it's important to talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up. So I really appreciate that they're normalizing identities within our communities now, because these identities have always existed, but what's kind of, I feel like, an obvious example here is that we are just now putting language to what this is, right? And it's even really cool that within the show they normalize transgendered and queer identity, because Jules is a transgendered
trans actresses, like
so important.
Yeah.
And so like Jules is an M to F transgendered individual, and they never say it. They never come out and just like let you know that Jules is trans. And there's
And they
one
let a
time.
straight boy be attracted to her,
Yeah.
and it's not a big deal. Elliot is attracted to Jules, and it's like, that's like you said, it's not really mentioned. It's just, super normalized.
Yep. Even
I love
Rue,
it.
I truly believe that Rue's an asexual. I don't
Oh,
think that
yeah.
she enjoys sexual relationships. She's obviously on a different level with Jules that surpasses that sexual need, right? But Jules being a sexual person, this relationship's gonna blow up in their face.
Right.
It already is. If you're on the new
you
episode.
can see it.
Oh,
You
if
can
you see-
totally
I
see
mean-
it this episode.
Yeah. Jules
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's really cool, and I really love that they're putting the normalization, the language out there for like our like generation, our young people, because now I feel like it's less of a terrifying path to navigate for families, because now, even within, I feel like our own family, is that I do know of a few individuals who are thinking that they may be a different identity. And I even talked to one of our aunties about it, and they were just completely normal, chill, like, yep, this is what's happening. This is, what they said. And I was like, kind of waiting for it, kind of waiting for them to like get upset. It never happened. And I was just really, really proud in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, cool,
Yeah.
So,
Our definitely, I'm really proud of our family for that too. Our family has just like been so open to all of it. And I think when it first kind of, came about, they didn't just, I don't know. I don't think they cared to like they cared to understand. They were open, and they're just like, oh, well, we still love them. Like, they're who they are. It wasn't like this huge thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Family is family.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anyways, I thought that was important. I that's something that's really stood out to me too with this show, is that, and I really appreciate it.
Definitely a must see if you haven't
Euphoria.
seen.
HBO Max
With
Sundays.
discretion, lots of trigger warnings, all
trigger warnings.
Yes,
all of them.
Ooh.
Oh, so many.
Yep.
If you
Yeah,
don't
like the season
white
finale.
male penis in your face, tread carefully.
Don't watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the season finale of season one, obviously it's only 2 seasons. Season one was like really hard to watch for me. So definitely make sure you are, do your research, make sure you're in a good space to watch that show, because it is, there's lots of stuff in it for sure. Okay.
Wait, time out. Sorry. I have to pee really bad.
Me too. Oh my God. Thank you.
Okay. Before we move on again, we want to touch on a very important topic that I don't know why we haven't talked about it yet, but I think it's worthwhile. So we're gonna spend some more time on Euphoria. I think I said this before, and you guys on the list. The part that really relates to me probably the most with this show is the addiction piece. And I think for myself, seeing the addiction, Rue, okay, so Rue is the one who struggles with addiction in the show, and it's on another level. And maybe it's not, I mean, I've been around addiction a lot of my life, and seeing Rue in this phase, I think really connected with me, and seeing, I guess, how much it controls her life really resonated with me, and understanding addiction, even though it's a show, it's so real, because I lived it, and I think watching her through it gives me just like a larger, I guess, I don't want to say bigger heart, but like understanding and vulnerability to addiction and how much it controls a person, you know? And so that's what, honestly, with this show, that's what has resonated with me the most, is watching Rue and her addiction. I mean, all of it is good, but that's probably the part that's really like kind of pulled me in and watching her. And obviously I'm just like, I just can't wait to see her like beat it. I don't know who knows where it's gonna go, but like I can't wait to see her beat it. But it's really I think it's a really important topic to talk about.
Well, it's like, it's right there in your face too. Like second episode, right? She ODs in the laundry room at a party. You know what I mean? And so it's real. It's intense seeing that, you know, and then just thinking still, again, she's a high school student. She's in high school, you know, and it's rough.
And she has she really has no intentions of having any, and not of becoming sober at all right now, but she's faking it for everyone. And she thinks she's doing a really good job at it. You know?
Oh, it's awful. That's like half of the discourse on Twitter after an episode airs. They're like, how do they not know? Look at her. Like, she's obviously sick, you know? But I also really appreciate how they do the writing surrounding addiction too, that it stems from mental health issues.
Oh, yes.
She has
trauma.
Trauma. She's traumatized from her father's death.
And that's how she started, right?
Yeah,
well,
she's
I really
ADHD,
like that.
She's bipolar.
She said there was an episode, I can't remember if it must have been last season. You guys can get me wrong, but she said, like, yeah, my dad's death doesn't really have anything to do with this. Like, I would be doing it anyway. But the most recent episode, it's like very clear that her dad was like so impactful, and that probably is the reason why she's. And I thought that was really interesting, because I feel like
everyone's excited because it's so this is like, I think what I was just gonna say really quick is, like, on this last episode too. Well, I think it said in the episode before, but where she gets all the drugs from the dealer and then she's using them herself, like with no worry in the world that they're going to sell her body to traffickers if she doesn't come up with this money.
Because that's what she was warned. That's what
she was warned.
They warned her.
Like, that's that is a strength of addiction. And that's not even a over, like, people would say, oh, that's, you know, no
overkill.
It's not, because that's truly the strength of addiction. And I
literally think right now, anything right now that's happening, my feelings, everything right now is the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so
it's rough. It's even like the last couple episodes, I actually had a hard time watching this season. And I mean, you know, it's last season I felt like was really intense too, but just watching them get more into Rue's character, you know, and her and mental illness, you know, and that's like a big thing too. Like, now obviously now people, like, you know, they talk about mental illness and people are more aware of mental illness, and
I mean kind
of but still it's like there's a stigma on it, and I know, like, everyone struggles. Like, even I struggle. I have an anxiety, you know what I mean? Like, I have mental, you know, and so it's like, why don't we talk about it? Why don't we talk about these things? And that's kind of where she goes into this, you know, like, she doesn't talk about it. You know, Rue doesn't talk about how she feels and what she's feeling, you know, and that's really important when
this isn't even why. It's not even because I have trauma. It's not even because I feel bad, because I don't. And then it's like, you know,
I think that's probably the biggest thing that they don't talk about. Like, out of everything is, I mean, it's probably going to come to, like, they illustrate it here and there, but that is probably the biggest issue with everybody is mental illness. They all deal with some sort of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Something that, like, might be cut, because I'm not sure how, I don't know how it's going to be received, or especially, like,
give it to us.
Okay. So I feel like, especially in tribal communities, well, I shouldn't say that. Kind of the conversation right now is around addiction, and how addiction is super, empathized with. You know, people are like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's legitimate. It's you're struggling. I get it. And people are treating kind of the addiction. And it's like, we haven't quite gotten far enough yet where we're like, all right, but the addiction stems from the mental health issues. And so there are
Right.
people with mental health issues who are not getting the care that they need because they maybe don't struggle with
Mhm.
those specific kind of like substance abuse issues, where I feel like substance abuse is more accepted right now than mental health issues.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah.
So it's
For
like,
sure.
you know,
Well,
which
kinda-
I'm not at all saying that that shouldn't be the case, where that is less stigmatized, but I'm just saying I feel like we have a little bit deeper to dig. Yeah.
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree.
Absolutely.
For
And
sure.
especially with what I'm seeing is people are medicated. Well, we're on this for this. We're on this for that. I'm on this for that. But how much are they actually, what else are they doing? They're just being medicated, you know,
Right.
and that's what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing in what I've been
medication's
around.
valid, but I
No,
think that pharmaceutical
Yes,
and
yeah.
like the whole mental health sphere of putting it under the rug is definitely still like a thing, especially
So that's where I'm going with that, because there's not a lot
Yeah.
that most of them are like,
Both.
it's just like, oh, we're gonna fix it with this, but there's just because you're giving them a medication, there's still a lot deeper shit that's going on. So the medication does help with a lot, and we all know that. And by no means am I against medication. I'm not saying
Right.
that.
Mhm.
But what
Well,
I'm
it's kinda
seeing is that
interesting
it's the
what's like-
band-aid. It's the band-aid. I put the
Mhm.
band-aid on it with the medication.
Mm.
But there's so much more that needs to be done.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Well, what's
Yeah.
kind of interesting too going into this topic is that tribal communities just won a multi-million-dollar lawsuit
Oh yeah.
against
Mhm.
Johnson & Johnson Pharmaceuticals for over prescribing opiates, therefore
Mhm.
pushing the opiate addiction onto tribal members.
Yeah.
And it is so prevalent in the effects that it's happening specifically within, I mean, it hits close to home, you
Right.
know, and so
And I feel like that's why we have so many feelings on this.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I just really,
Mhm.
really hope that these tribal communities put this money into prevention rather than what happens after they reach addiction.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I really
Right.
hope that
Prevention
that
instead
there's
of
a
intervention.
plan. Yeah, I really hope there's a
Mhm.
plan, because I
Mhm.
can see this going either way, either
Yeah.
really good or really bad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's all I'm gonna
I
say about that.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could get really into this topic and and whatnot, but I feel like we need to go kind of back. I mean, this obviously all stemmed from Euphoria,
Yeah.
but reeling it in, taking it back,
Yeah.
and
It's time to
we
reel
just-
it in. I agree.
Yeah,
We
let me help you change the topic real fast too. So back to Euphoria. I have to say, I am so thankful that Studio A24 took on that project. Are you guys familiar?
No.
So
Talk.
Studio A24 has this like legendary cinematographer who focuses a lot on the art of capturing the images. So you'll notice that in Euphoria, it's not like a regular like narrative from point A to point B. It has a lot of like close-up shots, special real effects. I mean, they even
sorry.
they even like asked Kodiak to bring back a specific film type that was no longer made because of the
wow.
way that it looks.
It
when you
shows.
record.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
super cool. Like
texture.
that's
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. I actually read an article about that.
I'm such a huge fan of Studio A24. They also made films like Midsommar.
That
They
makes sense.
made oh no, what's the other one? That's like
By the same director. Is it the horror
yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I know what you're talking about. With the girl.
With the girl, the sister, and anyways, so yeah, that studio, I think, is so brilliant, and I love that it adds a whole other aspect. There's so much about Euphoria. Holy cow, there's a lot of layers.
We could talk Euphoria forever. I think it's time to move on, though.
How's your timer doing, Tika?
We're way past time.
Hereditary. It's Hereditary. Ari Aster.
Hereditary. Yes.
We like to
Ari
drift.
Aster is from Santa Fe, by the way.
No way.
Oh wow.
Yep, he studied in Santa Fe.
Okay. Cool. All right. Euphoria. Watch it if you haven't, like we said before.
HBO Max.
HBO Max. We did not mention
Sundays.
HBO Max. Catch up if you're behind. If you haven't watched it all, obviously you haven't watched it. You know, HBO Max.
Right.
Gosh. All right. Well, you know what? It was such a fun. This was fun. All these shows. I mean, obviously, to each their own. Great conversation, ladies. I loved it. We had some we had some deep stuff. We had fun. Thank you guys for, just being here and talking with us. I love you, sisters, so much. You guys put in the comments, give us your feedback, whatever you think. Let us know, especially your opinions on Euphoria. Just kidding. I'm biased. I love Euphoria. I mean, whatever. But thank you all for listening. And you ladies have anything to add?
Make sure to follow us on Instagram. We are at @tenacious_podcast. We'll have a lot of behind the scenes, kind of like some, special BTS of getting to know each one of the cast members of the Tenacious podcast. Melody, Tika, Bessie, and I. Yeah, so take a peek at our Instagram, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. And we are currently on anywhere you stream your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're Amazon Music. We're kind of everywhere. So definitely let us know in the comments where you're watching us right now, or I guess listening to us. And give us a shout out.
And let us know what your favorite binge-worthy show is. Let us know.
Episode name drop.
Yeah.
This is our binge-worthy episode. So thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.